Hey y'all, now we're going to be going over the differences between a purpose statement and thesis statement. Now, conducting a good thesis statement or constructing one is a lot different than what we do in normal English classes and a lot different than the purpose of a speech. So pay attention because usually conducting or constructing thesis statements is harder for students. If you have any questions or want to reach out to me over the thesis statements that you're constructing for your speeches before you actually dive into your speech, feel free to do so. Contact me over email, Q&A form, whatever you need, I am here for it. But let's go specifically into purpose statements and what the purpose of your speech will be. And it's fairly generic and normal for really anything that you're doing, whether it's an English paper or a speech. But what is my objective speaking on this topic to the audience on this occasion? And really the occasion matters a lot on these types of speeches because you have three general purposes for a speech. It's either to inform or educate, which is to tell us, to train us on something, like your training and briefing speech. Then you have persuasion, whether it's not training or briefing us on something, but rather you're trying to persuade us to want to do something or want to feel a certain way about something. And then the last point is a special occasion speech. So whether that is a wedding toast or a funeral toast, you will have these three general purposes for a speech. So when you create when you're forming the specific speech purpose, you're going to want to lay out to the audience what exactly they should be learning in your speech. What do you want them to consider? What do you want them to agree with? This is really the specific aim for your speech, or the action that needs to be taken from this, which is seldomly articulated in the speech itself. Your speech should be about this, but not necessarily stated exactly. The purpose is you're going to walk away with this. That shouldn't be in your speech. You should have your audience members walk out from your speech and say the purpose of that speech and then state in one sentence what it was. So you want them to know that after they walk out from your speech. A thesis statement is a little bit different. Let me drag this down. A thesis statement is going to be a little bit different than the purpose statement. Your thesis statement is a central idea. So this is the theme of the speech. Although it's like the purpose of your speech, this is going to be a little bit different because your thesis is kind of rooted in the three main things that you're going to be talking about in your speech. Now, unlike an English paper, it is one declarative sentence that does not include your three main points. If anything, it only talks about the general idea of your three main points. So, for example, if I were to train you on a theory, say the theory of gravity, my single declarative sentence would be about gravity and the importance of gravity. My three main points would be gravity happens on Earth, gravity is necessary, and gravity allows us to do things every day. So my single declarative sentence would be gravity is an important way of life created in blah, 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 or found by blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So your single declarative sentence is your umbrella. Think of it as an umbrella. You have one overarching sentence that includes everything that falls underneath. So it needs to be clearly stated, and the entirety of the speech needs to rest on it. You are going to be separating. If you look at the outline in the supplemental packet, you are going to be separating your thesis statement with your credibility statement before your three main points. So your introduction should look like your attention getter, then your thesis statement, then your sentence about your credibility, and then your three main points. So remember, separating your thesis statement from your three main points is really important. Now, in an English paper, you normally have your thesis your thesis statement with the 3 main points that follow. So the gravity is extremely important for 1 reason, 2 reason, 3 reason, and then the rest of your paper falls under the 1, 2, and 3. But in a speech, it is not like that. It is one single declarative sentence about your speech, what you are demonstrating, what your purpose of persuasion is, what the special occasion is, then your credibility. Why are you important to be able to talk about this topic? Why have you been studying this? Have you looked into the research of this? Is this your best friend and you know so much about this person? And then you state, for this reason, and this reason. And then you go into the rest of your speech. So make sure it's clearly stated and make sure your entire speech can rest upon that one sentence. I know it gets a little bit confusing, but if you have any questions, you want to reach out to me for examples, feel free to. And we can discuss your thesis statements, and we'll discuss your thesis statements in our next video conference.